from Lugers to Panzerfausts, MG42s to stick grenades. These are the weapons that armed the Wehrmacht and shaped the deadliest conflict in human history. From the trenches to the streets of Berlin, every weapon tells a story of engineering, desperation, and warfare. Let's begin with pistols and sidearms. Pistols and sidearms. Luger P08, the iconic symbol of German military power. With its distinctive toggle lock action and elegant profile, the Luger was a prize trophy for Allied soldiers. Accurate and reliable, it fired the standard 9mm parabellum round and remained in service throughout the entire war. Walther P38. Designed to replace the expensive Luger, the P38 featured a simpler double-action mechanism. More practical and easier to manufacture, it became the standard issue sidearm for officers and tank crews by the mid-war period. Mauser C96. The broom handle. This semi-automatic pistol, with its distinctive wooden holster stock, dated back to before World War I. Though outdated, it saw limited use, particularly with the Luftwaffe and in rear echelon units. Walther PP and PPK. Compact, sleek, and deadly. The Polizei Pistole was issued to police and party officials. The smaller PPK variant became infamous as the preferred weapon of the Gestapo and SS officers. Sauer 38H, a double-action pocket pistol favored by the Luftwaffe and Kriegsmarine. Small enough to conceal, it provided officers with a reliable backup weapon in tight spaces like cockpits and submarines. Drace M1907. An older design pressed back into service as the war dragged on. This vest pocket pistol was simple and cheap, issued primarily to rear echelon troops when better weapons were scarce. Mauser HSC, a wartime economy pistol designed for mass production. Simpler than earlier Mauser designs, it served with police units and as a substitute standard sidearm when P38s were unavailable. Fimaru 37M, a Hungarian-manufactured pistol adopted by Germany after occupying Hungary. Similar in function to the Walther PP, it helped fill the desperate need for sidearms in the late war. Submachine guns. MP-18, a World War I holdover. The MP-18 was the grandfather of all submachine guns. Though largely obsolete, police units and second-line troops still carried this pioneering weapon in the early years. MP-28, an improved version of the MP-18 with a side-mounted magazine. Produced in limited numbers, it served primarily with the SS and police formations before being replaced by more modern designs. MP-38, the weapon that defined the Blitzkrieg. With its folding stock and sleek design, the MP-38 was issued to paratroopers, tank crews, and squad leaders. It was modern, compact, and absolutely revolutionary. MP-40, the refined mass production version of the MP-38. Simpler and cheaper to build, the MP-40 became the iconic German submachine gun. Millions were produced, arming everyone from infantry to resistance hunters. MP-41, a hybrid combining the MP-40's internals with a wooden stock. Produced in limited numbers by Schmeisser, it never achieved widespread adoption, but served with some SS and police units. Germany's final submachine gun, a direct copy of the British Sten. Produced in the last desperate months, it was crude, unreliable, and symbolized the collapse of German industrial might. Rifles and carbines. The WWII, the legendary Mauser bolt-action rifle from World War I. Though aging, hundreds of thousands remained in service with reserve and garrison units throughout the entire conflict. Karabiner 98K, the standard German infantry rifle. Shorter than the Gewehr 98, the Kar 98K was rugged, accurate, and utterly reliable. It armed the backbone of the Wehrmacht from Poland to Berlin. Gewehr 41, Germany's first attempt at a semi-automatic rifle. Both Walther and Mauser produced versions, but they were complex, heavy, and prone to jamming. few saw frontline service. Gewehr 43. Learning from captured Soviet rifles, the G43 was a successful semi-automatic, gas-operated, and magazine-fed. It gave German riflemen rapid firepower, though production never met demand. Sturmgewehr 44. The world's first true assault rifle. Firing an intermediate cartridge, the CTG-44 offered automatic fire with controllable recoil. It arrived too late and in too few numbers to change Germany's fate, but it revolutionized warfare forever. Volkssturmgewehr, the People's Storm Rifle. Crudely made from stamped parts and wood, this last-ditch weapon armed the Volkssturm militia. It was cheap, simple, and a testament to Germany's desperation. Gewehr 3340, a shortened mountain carbine used by Gebirgsjäger troops. Compact and handy in tight alpine terrain, it was essentially a cut-down Kar 98K optimized for mountain warfare. Machine guns. The water-cooled heavy machine gun from World War I. Mounted on a heavy sled, thousands remained in service for defensive positions and training, a relic still spitting death. MG0815, a lightened version of the MG08 with a shoulder stock and bipod. Though heavy by modern standards, it served with reserve units and fortress garrisons throughout the war. An early light machine gun derived from the Drace design. Air-cooled and magazine-fed, it was quickly replaced by superior designs, but saw use in the early campaigns. A masterpiece of engineering, the MG34 was the world's first general-purpose machine gun. It could serve as a light bipod weapon or a tripod-mounted heavy gun. Fast-firing and reliable, it set a new standard, the ultimate expression of German machine gun design. With a terrifying rate of fire, the MG42 earned the nickname Hitler's buzzsaw. Its distinctive sound alone could demoralize troops. Cheap, rugged, and brutally effective. MG81, a lightweight aircraft gun, occasionally adapted for ground use. Twin-mounted versions provided devastating firepower for bombers, and some found their way onto vehicles and fortifications. MG131, a heavy 13mm aircraft machine gun. While primarily used in fighter and bomber turrets, some were mounted on vehicles and fortifications for anti-aircraft defense against low-flying attackers. Anti-tank weapons. Panzerfaust 38, an anti-tank rifle firing a massive 7.92mm armor-piercing round. Against early war tanks, it was effective. By 1941, it was hopelessly outclassed, but snipers used it to penetrate bunkers and light vehicles. Panzerfaust 39, the simplified version of the PZB-38, easier to produce. It saw widespread issue, but suffered the same obsolescence as Allied and Soviet armor grew thicker. Panzerfaust 30, Germany's revolutionary disposable anti-tank weapon. A simple tube fired a shaped charge warhead that could penetrate almost any tank. Cheap and deadly, it turned every soldier into a tank hunter. Panzerfaust 60, an improved version with better range and penetration. The number indicated its effective range in meters. Millions were produced, making it the most common infantry anti-tank weapon. Panzerfaust 100, the ultimate evolution with increased range and accuracy. It featured a redesigned warhead and improved sights, giving infantry a fighting chance against even the heaviest Allied armor. Panzerfaust 150, one fashion of their new design that was partially reusable. It featured better sights and longer range, but few were produced before Germany's collapse. Panzerschreck, nicknamed the stovepipe, this was Germany's answer to the American bazooka. Firing a larger rocket, it had superior penetration, but was heavy and produced a dangerous backblast. Faustpatron, the grandfather of the Panzerfaust. This early shaped charge launcher was crude, but proved the concept. It was quickly refined into the more famous Panzerfaust series. Haftelhalidon, A magnetic hollow charge mine. Soldiers would creep up to enemy tanks and stick this devastating shaped charge directly onto the armor. Suicidal bravery was required. Grenades and explosive. Steel hand granite 24. The iconic stick grenade. Its distinctive wooden handle allowed for longer throws. Soldiers could also bundle multiple grenades together for devastating anti-tank charges. Steel hand granite 43. A simplified wartime version using cheaper materials. The fragmentation sleeve was improved, and production was streamlined for mass manufacturing under bombing raids. E-hand granite 39. The egg grenade. Compact and easy to carry, it lacked the throw range of stick grenades, but packed excellent fragmentation in a small package. Nebland granite 39. A smoke grenade using the same body as the egg grenade, essential for creating cover during assaults or masking retreats from enemy observation. Blendkörper 2H. And an incendiary grenade that burst into intense flame on impact, used for clearing bunkers and fortifications. It could cook enemies alive in enclosed spaces. Geballte Ladung. A concentrated charge made by bundling stick grenades around a central core. This improvised explosive was devastating against fortifications and tanks at close range. Telemine 35. A large anti-tank mine that could destroy tank tracks or kill the crew. Millions were laid in defensive minefields across Europe and North Africa. Telemine 42. An improved anti-tank mine with a more sensitive fuse and harder casing. It could be stacked for increased effect or buried to create killing fields. S-mine 8 Gartfries. The Bouncing Betty. This horrifying mine popped up to waist height before exploding, spraying steel balls in all directions. It could shred entire infantry squads. Regal Mine 43. A long rectangular anti-tank mine designed to destroy tracks. Its shape made it difficult to detect with mine detectors, creating a nightmare for engineers. Flamethrowers. Flammenwerfer 35. The standard German flamethrower. With 2 tanks strapped to the back, it could shoot a jet of burning fuel up to 25 meters, terrifying in bunker assaults, but the operator was a priority target. Flammenwerfer 41. A simplified and lighter version that became the most common model. It used a single-cylinder system and was easier to manufacture while maintaining effectiveness. Abwehr Flammenwerfer 42. A one-shot defensive flamethrower designed to be mounted in fortifications. Remotely triggered, it would engulf attacking infantry in a wall of fire. Einstos Flammenwerfer 46, or a disposable single-shot flamethrower developed in the final year. Small and light, it gave regular infantry a one-time flame weapon, though few were produced. Mortars. Granatwerfer 34, the standard 8cm mortar. Portable by a 3-man team, it provided infantry with immediate indirect fire support. Simple and effective, it served throughout the war. Granatwerfer 36, a 5cm light mortar issued at the platoon level. Extremely portable, it gave small units their own organic fire support for suppressing enemy positions. Granatwerfer 42, a heavier 12cm mortar for battalion-level support. It delivered devastating high-explosive rounds, but required a vehicle or horse to move effectively. Cursor 8cm Granatwerfer 42, a shortened version of the standard mortar designed for airborne troops. Lighter and more compact, it sacrificed some range for portability. Heavy weapons and support. Pak 35-36, the early war anti-tank gun, nicknamed the Door Knocker for its inability to penetrate later Allied armor. Still, it served with distinction in Poland and France. Pak 38H, a 5cm anti-tank gun that could handle most medium tanks. Compact and effective, it formed the backbone of German anti-tank defense in the mid-war period. Pak 40, The heavy hitter, a 7.5 centimeter gun capable of destroying any Allied tank. It was heavy and hard to move, but its killing power was unmatched on the defensive. Pak 43, the ultimate tank killer, an 8.8 centimeter gun that could penetrate over 200 millimeters of armor. Few were produced, but those that reached the front were devastating. Flak 38, a 2 centimeter anti-aircraft autocannon. Fast firing and mobile, it served both against aircraft and as infantry support, shredding soft targets with explosive rounds. Flak 3637, the famous 88, originally an anti-aircraft gun. Its flat trajectory and massive shell made it the most feared anti-tank weapon. It could kill at extreme ranges. Nebelwerfer 41, the Screaming Mimi. This multi-barrel rocket launcher fired devastating salvos that demoralized enemies with their distinctive shrieking sound before the explosions even hit. Nebelwerfer 42, a heavier 5-barrel rocket launcher firing larger projectiles used for saturation bombardment. It could level entire enemy positions in seconds. Wurfrahmen 40, wooden rocket launching frames mounted on half-tracks. Crude but effective, they turned any vehicle into a mobile rocket artillery platform for close support.